The first time Emily saw him, the wind was howling through the nearly empty streets. It was a cold November morning, the sky blanketed with thick gray clouds that promised rain. As she slowed her car near the old gas station on the highway, she noticed the golden retriever sitting motionless by the roadside. He wasn't sniffing the ground or wandering aimlessly like most stray dogs. He wasn't barking at passing cars. He just sat there, staring at the road with a quiet patience, as if waiting for something or someone. Emily frowned, gripping the steering wheel. The dog looked well built but thin, his fur dirty and matted. His deep brown eyes held a sorrow that tugged at her heart, but she was already running late for work. Later that evening, as she drove home, she glanced toward the gas station. The dog was still there. Days passed, and every morning and evening, the dog remained in the same spot. Curiosity gnawed at Emily. She stopped at the nearby diner one afternoon, ordering a coffee while stealing glances at the retriever through the window. "You're looking at that dog, huh?" The waitress, an older woman with salt and pepper hair, placed the cup in front of her. "He's been here for months." Emily's eyebrows shot up. "Months?" The waitress nodded, leaning on the counter. "Truckers feed him sometimes. Locals tried to take him in, but he won't go. Just sits there, watching the road." A few days later, Emily stopped by the gas station and spoke with the attendant. "Yeah, I saw him chase after a blue sedan once," the young man recalled. "Ran after it until it disappeared down the highway, but then he came back. Been waiting ever since." Emily swallowed hard. "Do you know who the owner was?" The attendant shook his head. She glanced back at the retriever. "A loyal heart, waiting for someone who might never return." The first time Emily tried to approach, the dog lifted his head, ears perked, but he didn't move. She knelt a few feet away and extended a hand. "Hey, buddy, you're a good boy, aren't you?" Her voice was soft, gentle. The dog simply watched her, unblinking. She placed a small bowl of food on the ground and stepped back. The retriever eyed her warily before inching forward, taking slow, deliberate bites. This became a daily ritual. Every morning before work and every evening on her way home, she brought food, and little by little, he began to trust her. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Emily sat down a few feet away from him. "Who are you waiting for?" she whispered. The dog turned his head toward the road, as if the answer lay somewhere beyond the setting sun. Weeks passed. One evening the temperature dropped below freezing. A storm was coming. Emily drove up to the gas station, heart pounding. The dog was curled up under a broken awning, his fur damp from the misty air. She crouched beside him. "Come with me," she pleaded. "You don't have to stay here anymore." For the first time, he didn't pull away when she reached out. Slowly, she ran her fingers through his fur. He was shivering. Then, as if making a decision, he let out a small sigh and leaned into her touch. Tears burned behind her eyes. "Good boy," she whispered. That night, for the first time in months, the retriever slept indoors, curled up beside her couch, his body rising and falling in slow, peaceful breaths. She named him Buddy. As Buddy settled in, Emily noticed something. He never barked, not at cars, not at strangers, not even when the doorbell rang. It was as if he had lost his voice. Determined to find his past, she took pictures of him and posted them online with the simple message, "Found near Highway 14 gas station. Has been waiting for months. Does anyone know his story?" Days passed. Then a message arrived. "My father had a dog just like this. We had a car accident near that gas station 3 months ago. My dad. He didn't make it. The dog ran off before I could find him. Emily's breath caught in her throat. Buddy wasn't just a stray, he was mourning. She arranged for Jason, the man who sent the message, to visit. When he arrived, Buddy lay by the window, as he often did, watching the road. Jason stepped inside hesitantly. "Buddy?" His voice cracked. The dog's ears twitched. His head turned slightly, as if recognizing the voice, but unsure if it was real. Then, after months of silence, he barked. A deep, emotional bark, filled with relief and recognition. Jason dropped to his knees as Buddy ran to him, tail wagging furiously. The young man's shoulders shook as he wrapped his arms around his lost friend. Emily watched, heart swelling and breaking at the same time. Jason sat with Emily that evening, stroking Buddy's fur. "I wish I could take him back," he admitted. "But I live in a small apartment now. It's not fair to him." Emily hesitated. She had never planned to keep Buddy permanently, but the thought of letting him go now felt unbearable. As if sensing the conversation, Buddy looked between them, then pressed his head against Emily's knee. Jason chuckled through his tears. "I think he's already chosen." From that day on, Buddy stayed with Emily. He still sat by the window, still watched the road. But now, when Emily called his name, he would turn back to her, because he finally had a home again.